When organisations communicate, it's interesting to consider the approach to take. Every communication has two sides, transmit and receive. Communications that simply transmit have less impact than those which pay attention to how the message is received. At one end of the spectrum is the tell message, which simply gives an instruction and demands compliance. Do this or else. At the other extreme is an invitation to work together to agree in action in service of a common goal. You might say, we need to change. What are your contributions on how? In between the two is a continuum which gives us a wealth of options, which we can use depending on the effects that we need. For instance, an internal email to all staff is firmly in the territory of a transmission. It's easy to disregard how the message is received, or even whether it's received at all. A transmit-only approach like this is pretty appropriate if the message doesn't require buy-in from the intended recipients. If the message is not intended to stimulate an essential change in behaviour, then this might be the right approach. For instance, the south entrance will be unavailable on Tuesday while essential maintenance takes place. This is a courtesy message which will help those who read it and remember. The impact of someone not receiving it or forgetting it is perhaps minimal, since undoubtedly there will be barriers and signage in place on Tuesday, and anybody trying to use the south entrance would simply find themselves diverted. So on a continuum from left to right, we have communications that pay increasing attention to how the message is received, and therefore generate increasing levels of commitment and ownership. Just beyond the straightforward tell message is a more engaging sell approach. Do this, and here are all the benefits of doing so. This is a pretty familiar style of message and could be satisfactory when the message is uncontroversial, easily understood, and within relatively familiar territory for the audience. If you don't need people to move far from their current reality to get on board with your idea, then this might be fine. But what if the change you're asking for is more significant? We can get people to play ball with us by involving them more. A more engaging approach might be by saying, "This is the plan as it stands. Tell us what you think about it and we'll consider incorporating your feedback." This way we have a better chance of getting our audience to engage with the message. But here's the thing. If we want to build engagement further, we can ask for assistance more than simply feedback. By consulting the audience, if we share the change and give people time and space to process our message, then apply the changes to their work, we could get willing collaborators. Basically, we'd be saying, please help us to develop the plan. If we take this approach to its logical extreme, we could even invite the audience to co-create the plan from scratch by saying, hey, we've got a blank sheet of paper and an intention. Let's create the plan together. Of course, this end of the spectrum often requires more effort, but that's in aid of stronger results. In summary, we need to consider how far we're trying to persuade people to move, whether it's going to be enough to simply hope for compliance, or whether we need to engage our audience more thoroughly and be willing to invest more effort. If we choose to tell them they have to, they might comply, but we risk deliberate resistance. If we sell it to them, they might buy in, but we risk leaving them as spectators, saying, we'll wait and see. If we test our proposition with them, they might feel more involved, but if we consult them, we've got more chance of getting willing collaborators. Most powerfully of all, if we can engage people into building the plan together, then they'll feel ownership, and they might even make it their own mission.